Brock Lesnar may have officially walked away from professional wrestling, but WWE might not be ready to let the Beast Incarnate disappear just yet. In fact, there's already speculation that WWE wants Brock Lesnar involved at WrestleMania 43. But there's one enormous problem. Brock Lesnar may not want to go. And according to Matt Hardy, that could be enough to completely derail WWE's reported plans. So, could Brock Lesnar really return at WrestleMania 43? Could WWE convince him to make one final appearance? Or has the Beast truly closed the door on WWE for good? Let's break down everything we know. First, we need to talk about what happened to Brock Lesnar. At SummerSlam 2026, Lesnar stepped inside Hell in a Cell against one of WWE's fastest rising stars, Oba Femi. This wasn't presented as just another match. For Lesnar, it felt like the end of an era. The Beast Incarnate had already been through multiple chapters of his legendary career. He became one of the biggest stars in WWE history, left the company, pursued an NFL opportunity, transitioned into mixed martial arts, became a UFC heavyweight champion, and eventually returned to WWE. And now, after his battle with Oba Femi, Lesnar appeared to be ready for another goodbye. Lesnar lost the Hell in a Cell match. Shortly afterward, his WWE status changed, and the speculation surrounding his future exploded. Then came the biggest development of all. Brock Lesnar officially announced his retirement from professional wrestling. Lesnar explained that he wanted to step away from the ring and spend more time with his children and family. That announcement appeared to close the book on his in-ring career. But wrestling fans know something very important about retirement. In WWE, retirement doesn't always mean goodbye forever. And that is exactly where the WrestleMania 43 rumors begin. According to a report from WrestleVotes, there are people within WWE who reportedly believe Lesnar could still be involved with WrestleMania 43 in some capacity. Notice the wording. This does not mean Brock Lesnar is confirmed for WrestleMania 43. It does not mean he has agreed to wrestle. And it certainly does not mean WWE has announced his return. The report is about internal expectations and possible plans. But even the possibility of Brock Lesnar appearing at WrestleMania is enough to get fans talking. Because WrestleMania 43 is going to be unlike any WrestleMania before it. WWE has officially announced that WrestleMania 43 will take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in 2027. It will mark the first time WrestleMania is held outside North America. That alone makes the event historic. And WWE could potentially want a massive name like Brock Lesnar involved, even if Lesnar doesn't wrestle. Imagine the reaction. The lights go down. The crowd begins to realize what is happening. Then Brock Lesnar's music hits. The Beast walks onto the WrestleMania stage one more time. No match. No title. No physical confrontation. Just Brock Lesnar appearing in front of the WrestleMania audience. From WWE's perspective, that could be an enormous moment. But according to Matt Hardy, there is a serious obstacle. Hardy recently addressed the possibility of Lesnar appearing at WrestleMania 43 on his Extreme Life podcast. And his reaction was not exactly optimistic. Hardy basically questioned whether Brock would even want to make the trip. Why? Saudi Arabia. Matt Hardy suggested that, based on his understanding of Lesnar, the former WWE champion isn't someone who particularly enjoys traveling long distances. Hardy said, "I doubt Brock would want to go to Saudi Arabia." He then explained that, knowing Brock, he doesn't really like traveling too far away. And that statement creates a fascinating situation. Because WWE may want Brock Lesnar. Fans may want Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania 43 may be the perfect stage for Brock Lesnar. But Brock Lesnar himself may simply say no. And that is something WWE cannot control. Remember, Lesnar has already achieved almost everything there is to achieve in professional wrestling. He doesn't need another championship. He doesn't need another WrestleMania match. He doesn't need another major storyline. He has already cemented his legacy. And now he has publicly said that he wants to spend more time with his children. That changes everything. If Lesnar was still actively wrestling, WWE could build a storyline around him. They could offer him a huge match. They could give him a massive payday. They could create a WrestleMania attraction. But if Lesnar genuinely wants to focus on his family, convincing him to travel internationally simply for a non-wrestling appearance becomes much more difficult. And that is probably why this story is so interesting. WWE may not necessarily want Brock to wrestle. They might simply want the visual. WrestleMania is about spectacle. It is about moments that people remember. And there are very few WWE stars who can create a reaction simply by appearing. Brock Lesnar is one of them. Even after retirement, his presence carries enormous weight. But there's another important question. Would appearing at WrestleMania actually contradict Lesnar's retirement? Not necessarily. There's a huge difference between returning to compete and making a one-time appearance. If Lesnar walked onto the WrestleMania stage, acknowledged the fans, perhaps congratulated another superstar, or appeared during a Hall of Fame-style segment, WWE could technically bring him back without putting him into another match. And that's probably the kind of appearance WWE would be hoping for. But there's also a major downside. If Brock Lesnar is willing to appear at WrestleMania, fans will immediately start asking, is he wrestling? And if he isn't, some fans might feel disappointed. That's why WWE would need to be very careful. The company could potentially use Lesnar as a surprise. They could keep his involvement secret until WrestleMania night. And considering how private Lesnar has traditionally been about his personal life and career decisions, that would actually fit his character perfectly. But there's still the travel issue. WrestleMania 43 won't be taking place in New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, or another traditional American WrestleMania destination. It will be in Riyadh. That's a long international trip. And according to Matt Hardy, that may be exactly what makes the rumor unrealistic. Of course, Hardy's comments are his personal opinion. He isn't speaking for Brock Lesnar. He isn't speaking for WWE. And he doesn't have the final say over whether Lesnar appears. So fans shouldn't interpret his comments as confirmation that Brock will not be there. It's simply an indication that someone who knows the wrestling business well doesn't believe the trip would appeal to Lesnar. And there's another possibility. What if WWE offers Lesnar enough money? That is where the speculation becomes even more interesting. Brock Lesnar has always been in a unique position compared with most WWE superstars. He doesn't need to work a full schedule. He doesn't need to appear every week. He doesn't need to participate in every storyline. If WWE wants Brock Lesnar, they have to make the appearance worth his time. And WrestleMania 43 could be exactly the kind of event where WWE would be willing to do that. However, there's a major difference between paying Brock Lesnar for a wrestling match and paying him for a non-wrestling appearance. If Lesnar has genuinely retired, WWE might have to convince him that appearing is worth interrupting the life he wants to live. And that could be a much tougher sell. This is why the WrestleMania 43 rumor should be treated carefully. Right now, the situation appears to be this. Brock Lesnar has officially retired from professional wrestling. WWE has WrestleMania 43 scheduled for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in 2027. There has been reporting that people within WWE believe Lesnar could still be involved in the event. But Matt Hardy doubts that Lesnar would want to travel all the way to Saudi Arabia simply to make a non-wrestling appearance. And, most importantly, there's no official confirmation that Brock Lesnar will appear. So, will the Beast return? Honestly, nobody outside WWE and Lesnar himself can say for certain right now. But that's what makes this story so fascinating. If Brock Lesnar really wants to stay retired, WWE may have no choice but to accept it. If he changes his mind, however, WrestleMania 43 could suddenly become one of the biggest nights of his career. And imagine a headline if it happens. Brock Lesnar returns to WrestleMania. Even if he doesn't wrestle, even if he only walks onto the stage for a few seconds, the reaction would be massive. But if Matt Hardy is right, WWE may have a problem that money and creative plans cannot solve. Because sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't the opponent. It isn't the storyline. It isn't the schedule. It's simply getting Brock Lesnar on the plane. For now, the Beast Incarnate remains retired. WWE may reportedly want him at WrestleMania 43. Fans may desperately want to see him. But until Brock himself decides that he wants to make that journey, WrestleMania 43 remains only a possibility. And if there's one thing we've learned about Brock Lesnar throughout his career, it's this. When Brock Lesnar wants something, he does it his way. So don't expect WWE to announce Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania 43 anytime soon. Instead, watch the situation closely, because if the Beast's music suddenly hits in Riyadh, WrestleMania 43 could have one of the most shocking surprises in WWE history.